Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'll be going over the pedal settings that I use for my Simagic P1000s. I'll be going over both the physical settings like the springs and elastomers, as well as the software settings that I use. So I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, please like, subscribe, and comment, and follow along for more Corsa rally content. Enjoy the video. All right, first up is my clutch. There's not much of a story to tell here. I'm using the default spring that came with it. It's this kind of reddish orange looking spring. I didn't receive any other springs, so I think this is what I'm stuck with. I'm not sure if they make any others. I mean, I'm not complaining because it feels fine to me. And then software wise, not doing anything crazy here. The kind of this default linear pattern. I don't have any dead zones set on the top or bottom. And something I do when I calibrate these is for the clutch, I try to make sure I don't like press too hard. Just kind of do a nice slight press. Not gonna like try and overdo it. So that's something I try to keep in mind. So that's it for the clutch pedal. So let's move over to the throttle pedal next. All right, on my throttle pedal, it's not much of a crazy story either. Just kind of using the default red looking spring that came with it. I didn't receive any other springs, so I'm not sure if there are other available springs, but I mean, it feels fine. I probably wouldn't mind having it be maybe a little stiffer, but it's not bad. Similar story here is when you calibrate your throttle, you don't want to press, too hard. Just do a nice press. When you feel the wall, immediately stop, because if you press too hard, there's a chance maybe you wouldn't actually hit 100% when you're, driving. So just do a nice press and don't overdo it on the calibration of that. So that's the story on the throttle pedal. So let's move on to probably the most interesting pedal. All right, so my brakes, feel-wise, I like it to be softer initially, progressively getting firmer up to around that 75 to 80% mark. And then from that 75 to 80% mark, I like it to be kind of extra firm. So there's like a little bit kind of like a wall there around that 80% mark. And that's kind of like a signal to me that I'm approaching an area of the brakes where I might start locking up. So to achieve that feel, I'm using a combo of springs and elastomers. The stack starts with a plastic white connector and then a softer yellow spring, followed by another plastic connector, and then a firmer red spring. And then on top of that red spring, I've got two red elastomers, which is kind of where I think that 80% feel is coming from, that kind of wall, because I think those two red elastomers are a bit on the firmer side. So that's my full stack of springs and elastomers that I use to achieve the feel that I like. And it seems to work pretty well for me. I can pretty consistently kind of find that 80% mark there. And then if I want to, I can press extra firm to get up to the 100%. Calibration wise, after I got that feel, what I wanted to do when I calibrate is, let me go ahead and just do my throttle and clutch. So feel wise, I try to press up until I feel that kind of that 80%, and then I press a little harder to get that extra 80 to 100% feel. So that actually leads me to a pretty low value, like load cell wise. I think if I switch this over to show kilograms, it's actually going to be quite low. So if I press, yeah, so 100% for me is only 34 kilograms. So around that 80% mark is what, around 24, 25 kilograms. So a little bit on the lower side for me. That's what I've gotten used to and what I like. So it works for me. Might not work for you. So outside of that, I do have an 8% dead zone set, which is kind of on the high side, I think. Reason being there is that, I'm doing left foot braking a lot. So my left foot can be kind of almost resting on the brake pedal sometimes. And I don't want that to trigger the brakes because, I might be going down a straightaway. I don't want the brakes to be activated because my foot's just kind of accidentally resting on the pedal a little bit. So you can see the white activating there. Let me change this back to percentage. So that's my foot resting on the brake. And then the percentage, it's not registering any brake yet. So I actually have to press a little bit more. Now I'm getting the brake registering. So that just allows me to rest my foot a little bit on the brake and not not accidentally engage it. So it works for me. It's probably not the ideal. I should probably just train myself to not put my foot on the brake at all, but it's what I do to compensate for that. So, um, I think that's everything, both on the physical side and the software side that I've got set up. I do have a haptic on the brake, but I'm not actually using it at all because I don't really use ABS at all in the game. So that's what the haptic would be for, is for ABS. I can show what I've got it set up to right now. So, it is set for ABS, and settings wise, I got it set to 64% strength and then a 35% frequency. That kind of gives me if I test it here, kind of like what I would imagine ABS kind of feeling like. Um, so yeah, that is everything on my brakes and pedals, or on my pedals. So I hope that was helpful. Yeah, I am curious to hear what other people are using. So please leave a comment to let me know what y'all are using. If you try my setup, let me know what you think. Let me know if you hate it or like it. Yeah, and if you got something out of this video, please like, subscribe, and comment, and follow along for more Assetto Corsa Rally content. Have a great day. See ya.